Hi, I'm Michael Gadlin.
Hi, I'm Kate Perdoni.
Welcome to Arts District from Rocky Mountain PBS.
We're so lucky to be here in Michael Gadlin's very own artist studio in Denver.
That's right. This is so fun, and I love doing the show here.
I
It's
love
so
it.
unique.
It's amazing.
And there's obviously so much to love about Colorado.
That's right, the mountains, the lifestyle.
Craft beer and wine, of course.
Yes, wine. There are now over 150 wineries across Colorado.
That's unbelievable. Arts District executive producer Jenny Castor takes us to the vineyards where the magic happens.
Tasting a lot of wines, beautiful wines that are made in Colorado.
But I think that Colorado has its unique fingerprint.
3 golds and a silver.
Some of the white wines are beautiful.
Every Cabernet Franc we've produced received either gold or double gold.
This is a story about Colorado.
Colorado cherries, you can't beat them. Colorado peaches, you can't beat them.
Yes, Colorado.
So why would grapes be any different?
And an eagerness to share what's happening here.
It's really important that we use only Colorado grapes. Because after all, wine is very expressive of where it's grown. So it's kind of a slam dunk to go win these competitions.
Well, maybe not that easy. John and Ula started Bookcliff Vineyards in 1996.
Took a while to get started, planted from scratch. So 3 years later, then we started the winery. Started in the basement of our house.
More than 20 years later,
We received a double gold and we're in contention for Best of Show.
there are 2 tasting rooms and more than 14 grape varieties to rave about. It's here on Colorado's western slope where the magic begins.
We own vineyards in Palisades. We have 40 acres that we're farming there. We grow Bordeaux varieties, which are all your Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot, Malbec. And we have also Spanish varieties, Tempranillo, Graciano. And then we also have Portuguese varieties. We have a grape called Suzal. So here we are at Bookcliff Vineyards, our facility in Boulder, where we make the wine.
Bottling is done by hand with help from a team of volunteers.
We're bottling a sweet rosé that we call Touch of Red.
There's synergy here, and it radiates across the state.
We're in downtown Evergreen in our tasting room / restaurant.
Creekside Cellars has also been making wine for over 2 decades.
If we all support each other, it's a grander view, so we try to build each other up.
Success is good for all.
The goal is to get the word out about Colorado wine. You may not have a 91-point wine, but you still make wine. We're all in this together, and we all have to be in it together.
It takes 3 to 5 years once you plant vines before you can get a viable commercial harvest.
Doug Caskey runs the Wine Industry Development Board, part of the Colorado Department of Agriculture. For him, time is the key. Vines have matured, winemakers are experimenting. The time is right for Colorado's new craft industry.
There's been a lot of sparks and glimmers of potential in the Colorado wine industry for many years, and things just seem to keep solidifying.
The growing season has hot days and cool nights.
The season when the grapes are maturing, that's significant because it preserves the acidity in the grapes, and you want to get the balance of the acidity and the ripeness and the sugars, and that's what makes a great wine.
Plus, Colorado has an added bonus: low humidity.
The arid climate means we have very little disease and pest pressure, so we don't have to apply as many chemical inputs. I got an email from one of our judges at the Governor's Cup this year that said, "Wines get better and better every year. It's so exciting to watch."
Softness in the beginning, firmness in the middle.
Back to the annual Colorado Governor's Cup competition. The Cab Francs, Merlots, Chardonnays, all tasted within these sterile rooms on the MSU Denver campus.
Our role as judges is to determine which wines are tasting the most exuberantly, that have the most vibrancy, are most likely to please the greatest number of people.
That was a beautiful one.
And then you bring it to the attention of the public, you hope, by saying, well, it's gold medal. That's a wine almost everybody, maybe even everybody will like on some level.
We're not one size fits all, because we have wineries in Grand Junction and in Paonia and on the Front Range and down in Canyon City. Everybody's doing something different.
Get ready. Colorado's got a new frontier. This time, it's wine.
In certain varieties, they have achieved international level of perfection.
I think we have huge potential.
I kind of like to describe it as an awakening.
So here's a word of advice. If you find a Colorado wine that you love, you'd better grab a few bottles.
Those batches go really fast.
And we've got some extra content on our website.
See more from Creekside Cellars and from the vineyards in Palisade.
Now, for over 4 decades, the theater company at the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs, which is TheaterWorks, has been performing the plays of Shakespeare.
Where and how they've performed these works has varied.
And this year, the company added a brand new program.
And its accessible series called Free for All.
It brought the comedy of errors all over Colorado Springs to places like senior centers, parks, and libraries.
And Kate followed the troupe to learn how the mobile show enlivened local community hubs.
People want to see theater not only in these special spaces set aside for theater, but also in spaces that are close to them, that are close to where they live their lives.
TheaterWorks' Free for All program brings traditional theatrical favorites to communities across Colorado Springs, but without the aid or constraint of an actual theater. With the goal of eliminating barriers, these performances come to you.
We wanted to create something that goes into spaces where people already are comfortable, that connects with communities that already have rich, diverse, exciting things going on, and just gives them another way to gather. So I think it just invites people to try something out. We're performing in the round, so audience on all 4 sides. We're performing out of trunks and suitcases. I do approach rehearsals differently if we're out in the community. Anything can happen. You want actors who view change as expected and delightful, who are looking for the opportunities to make this performance different than any other performance, to be open to the audience and to respond to them, to be open to the space and respond to the unique opportunities of the space. How they might use those words to connect with a tiny child sitting on the floor at a library versus a patron at a senior center who's 3 rows back and is maybe experiencing the play differently. We have 7 actors performing in the play, only 6 of them at any given time, but each of those actors has actually learned 2 totally different tracks.
I played Drummy of Ephesus and Drummy of Syracuse, along with characters of Aegean, Angelo, and an officer in Comedy of Errors.
I thought it was really interesting and cool. They each played multiple parts. I thought it was really clever acting and directing, and I was very impressed. I got to experience life right here.
We didn't know quite what to expect, and to have 6 actors portray all those characters was just incredible. They did such a fantastic job. And this was just an incredible afternoon.
A mobile show needs to be on its toes, particularly when weather strikes. This performance was planned for an outdoor area.
And just as soon as we set up the tarp and the trunks, all this rainfall just started pouring down.
The cast relocated indoors to this community center, where they performed on one half of a basketball court.
With the sound of rainfall coming down on us, it was kind of fun to overstep over that noise. Wherever we go, there will be contingencies, and that there are things we can't control, but I think that just makes it all the more exciting, really. Understanding that things can change at any minute, and that's, I guess, the power of live theater.
And how does one get ready for this kind of performance?
Mainly just vocal warm-ups, stretches every now and then, head rolls, shoulder rolls. I try to do push-ups every now and then just because that really gets my body warmed up and ready for anything. And football. We had a great age range from very young children to older individuals, and I've seen and heard from audience members that there's so much more influence. They're encouraged to read more Shakespeare. People do love art. People do like theater. Even people who haven't seen theater before, they welcome it because it's something that catches their eye, and what they don't know, they seek to understand.
The idea that this was our pilot year and we had as many performances as we did is amazing and a gift, and all it does is make me crave more opportunities to connect with people. There's a necessity for art to be able to be a mirror in which everyone can see themselves reflected. I think the theater is both that mirror and a window that sometimes we see ourselves and sometimes we see through into someone else's life, and we need both of those things. That's so necessary, that everybody has that opportunity for both that mirror and that window.
The mirror and the window, I love that.
For more information on TheaterWorks, visit the link below.
Marcella Nordbeck Richardson is multifaceted.
She's an author, artist, life coach,
a seeker and a dreamer, and she drives her dreams into action.
Janine Trudell of Tailwind Media brings us to the intersection of oil and canvas.
Why do I paint? My earliest memory, I was 3 years old and my mom had been an art student. I remember her drawing the outline of a bear on a piece of construction paper and giving me a paintbrush loaded up with paint and told me paint the bear. And then my mom went off and did her thing, and so we were painting together. I think from that moment on, I always needed a creative outlet. Kids might have other toys. I needed to have art supplies. Regret is my biggest fear, and I didn't want to regret not trying to pursue my creative endeavors full-time. I'd been exhibiting and selling for a few years and had moderate success while holding down a full-time job. And I thought, if I'm having moderate success doing this on the side, what could I do if I did it full-time? And so I took a 9-month sabbatical and gave creativity full-time, everything. I had a great solo show, I'd done a couple of commissions, but every month, the bank account's getting smaller. And mentally, it changed how I approach creativity. Although I'd learned a lot during that 9-month sabbatical, there was a part of me that was feeling a little bit like a failure. My husband, unfortunately, lost his job, and he went into trucking. And I remember one day he says, they told me that husband and wife teams can do really well out here. Do you think you want to get your Class A commercial driver's license? And I remember I looked at him and I said, literally just yesterday, I got offered a job being a gallery manager and I accepted the job. So no, I'm not going to go to truck driving school with you. I'm not going to go drive a truck. That's crazy. I would never do that. And a year later, I went to truck driving school, finally graduated. It was challenging, but I did it. I learned what I needed to learn so that we could then come together and get a truck assignment and teamed for a year. We paid our dues, we were over the road, long haul, for a little more than a year. I got the minimum experience I needed to then circle back around and find a local job. I remember in truck driving school being in the classroom for a week, and then the first day it's like, okay, you've completed all the classroom work, you've completed your final written exam, now we're going out into the yard. Standing in front of these behemoths of a vehicle, the heart's racing, palms are sweating, a level of sheer terror I had never known. What I can see now is most of my fears, they were imagined. What I've experienced is that the more intense the fear is, when I actually get through that experience, the more intense this natural high is of oh my gosh, I did that. I did that. I was terrified, but I did it, and I did it well, and I rocked it. Before trucking, I used to let those fears hold me back. It can be scary, driving a big rig, going somewhere you've never been. You don't know if you're gonna fit. You don't know how you're gonna maneuver the vehicle and get out back onto the highway. Just like in trucking, facing those emotional fears that come up in the creative process, it's cathartic, it's a release, and it's healing. And on the other side is peace and joy that I wasn't allowing myself to experience. What I realized during that 9-month sabbatical was I like the security of having study money coming in or having multiple income streams so that when I'm creating, I can just create from my heart and it's not from a place of, is this going to be marketable? I don't think about that now at all. And now I sell more work, which is ironic. When I step in front of the canvas to go bigger, to paint with bigger brushes, to paint with broader, bolder brushstrokes, to show up with a willingness to face those feelings and put them on the canvas, give them somewhere else to reside other than within me, that's what I've taken from trucking. I want to inspire other people that no matter who you are, where you are, what you're doing, it's in those small pockets of time, those little white spaces in our day where we can put in a little bit of creativity. You don't have to be this full-time working artist to be an artist. We are all the artists of our lives.
So cool. A trucker artist? Now that's a ride not many artists make.
Now, did you know that the first firearms date back to China in the 1200s?
Wow, I did not know that. But here in southern Colorado at Trinidad State Junior College, you will find the oldest gunsmithing school in the nation.
Producer Scott Jones takes us to Trinidad to watch these students in action.
I just enjoy the beauty of firearms, just to see the creativity. I get to see 65 students come through here at a time, and I get to see their attention to detail and their unique personalities put into each one of their guns.
At my age, I didn't get to use the shop classes in school. Ours were home ec. To be able to do this now and at this age and have the time to do it, I'm having a ball.
We give them a direction, we give them a focus, we give them a way to go, but then we give them the artistic freedom to expand into what they want to do with it. Trinidad State's program was started in 1947 when P.O. Ackley opened the doors. It was the first gunsmithing school in the nation. Ackley was a local gunsmith, with Trinidad State being a newer college at the time. He partnered with the college and opened a gunsmithing school originally to serve our veteran community. We have people coming from all around the country. We even have people come from outside of the United States to take classes here.
Whenever you Google gunsmithing schools, you pretty much end up with Trinidad being within the top 1 or 2. I was lucky enough to be accepted the first time I applied. Something would invariably go wrong while we were out at the range and nobody could ever fix it. So I thought, you know what? I love working with my hands. I love problem solving. So I thought this would be a great opportunity.
We focus on machining, bench metal work, metal refinishing, repair, and stock making. Off of those key areas in the firearms industry, it allows our students to use the skills that they have to go down the path that best suits them for what they want to do with a career. The process of building a gun is a very wide, embracing concept. What is the intent of the gun? What is the purpose of that firearm? What's it going to be used for? It involves a lot of people. Traditionally, it would be a locksmith building the locking mechanism for it, or the hammer and mainspring. It would be the stock maker building the stock, barrel manufacturers making the barrels, and the action would be machined or cut out of steel. We're starting out with raw materials, carbon steels, and machining out the action. Then you're going to have a barrel manufacturer that's going to, out of high tensile strength steel, bore out a barrel, pull rifling through it. Then we would thread it, chamber it, fit that to our action. After the metal work's done, after your action's complete, the fire control is attached to it and fit to it. Your bolts fit, its headspace chambered, and it's deemed to be safe and contain the pressures of that cartridge when it ignites. Then we start into the stock making. Then you got to design the stock, fit it to the customer, design that stock so it fits them properly and operates in the way they need it to operate. After the stock is fit to the action, then it can go off and be sanded down and finished. The metal then has to be completed. We go into polishing that, We polish all the machine marks out, all the imperfections out of the steel, bring it up to a nice high gloss finish. Then we have to finish the metal with slow rust bluing or express rust bluing or hot salt bluing. And the whole gun comes back together with the stock and it's mated up for final assembly and testing and off to the customer. There's the obvious art side of it. We joke around here often that the machine shop is all numbers. When you get into stock making, those numbers go out the window. The stock is really what makes the whole gun flow together. The engraving and stock carving and checkering and accent pieces with the metal finishing. No two guns that are made by one custom gun maker are the same. There's always uniqueness to each one.
I can't imagine the hours it took looking at something really teeny tiny, especially the engravers. And they are just absolutely stunning pieces of work. They're very artistic.
I think the need and the desire for custom gun making as an art form in our world will never die off. I think that there is a large number of people that desire that high-end custom gun. I feel as though in our world today, we have a lot of people that don't view the firearm as a work of art anymore as it has been in the past, and they don't see it as a necessary tool.
I would equate what we're doing here like the marble sculptor looking at a block of marble and seeing what's really inside. They're building true craftsmen here.
To learn more about the gunsmithing program at Trinidad State Junior College, visit the link on your screen.
Finally, in Bellevue, Colorado, you can make your own pair of shoes.
Yes, students with no sewing or design experience can actually craft their own kicks from scratch in just a few days, thanks to the Colorado Shoe School.
Arts District producer Alexis Cacoan explores the heart and soul of shoemaking.
There's no way that you could describe these shoes in one sentence.
My shoes are a mix of hippie boho and garden inspiration.
I ended up choosing something more classy, and now I need to buy a boat to wear those.
I think these shoes are sort of vintage boho funky.
All shoe history has culminated today in Bellevue, Colorado, and each shoe brings its own special voice to that chorus.
I love the way costumes can transport a person into a character. It can be what you want to present to the world, and that's what shoemaking is for me.
I think one of the exciting things is reconnecting to a lost art in some ways. It's something that everyone has a connection to or a story about. They've held it, they've touched it, but they don't always know how it's made.
We are going to make sure that the sole is correct for your foot.
So today we're making sneakers. It's a 2-day workshop, and we spent a day in the design process, picking out the materials that we'll be using. Tomorrow is the actual day of putting things together to start taking that 2-dimensional shapes and making it into a 3-dimensional shape that will fit onto the feet.
Is it
Go
here?
from the inside. Yeah, that hole right there. Here, I'll let you do it.
Okay.
A shoemaker is called a cordwainer. So a lot of people say, oh, you're cobblers. And a cobbler is someone who fixes shoes. So when you've come through Colorado Shoe School, you're a cordwainer. We were building this workshop, and we both knew that we needed a space to work.
And we wanted to make something that kind of fit into the setting. We put it up on the second story so that you're amongst the treetops. It feels like you're in a tree house. Just a really nice setting for people to come and work and be able to relax and kind of forget about the everyday routine.
So, you know, just something you could wear to like command a space fleet, whatever you're doing on Sunday afternoon.
Being a conscious consumer, that's part of our idea and our ethos. So a good portion of our materials are recycled. This is recycled conveyor belt. We use old leather jackets that are jolly ugly as a leather jacket.
Oh, it fits perfect.
Oh, Andrew, that is...
Oh, yeah!
And turn them into funky shoes.
I'm so excited right now. I don't know how to express this.
The looks on our students' faces when they have realized that they've done it, when they put them on for the first time, it's just lovely. It's just really lovely to see their faces and go, oh, I did this?
It feels amazing to look at the finished shoes.
You feel very proud after you finish them because you made shoes.
I couldn't believe when I put them on my feet the first time that I actually made these in 2 days. It's really, really quite gratifying.
I feel like I'm gonna wear it a lot because it comes from your idea, right? Like you do the way you wanted to do it. So yeah, I'm very proud.
I hope they walk away with a sense of daring, and I really hope they wear their shoes. That seeing the shoes out, to me, that's super exciting. There's that sense of, yeah, I made these and I'm gonna wear them, and I'm proud of them. Yeah.
I know you want to make your own shoes. You're wearing like a new pair of shoes every time I see you.
And you can make your own soul steppin' shoes. Check out the link below. That's our show.
Thank you so much for joining us from the studio of our very own Michael Gadlin.
Visit us online for more episodes.
And don't forget to check out our Instagram. I'm Kate Perdoni.
And I'm Michael Gadlin. Until next time, make it easy.
But make it